just want to make a few comments, please. As I'm sure everybody's aware, the Grenfell Tower Inquiry Phase 2 report was published yesterday, and while we'll bring back a detailed report to the authority at the appropriate time in the future, I think it's fair to say that the committee's thought at this time should remain with the families and loved ones of the 72 people who lost their lives during the tragic events of June the 14th, 2017, which obviously was just over 7 years ago. So I'm sure all our thoughts are with everybody involved in that. And with safety and well-being of our communities in Merseyside in mind, along with that of our frontline responders, we welcome the publication of the Inquiry Phase 2 report. And as I said a few minutes ago, we'll come back to that as an authority sometime in the future. Okay, thanks very much. So we move on to the agenda as such. We've had apologies from Councillor Paul Tweed and Lynn Thompson, and can I thank Councillor Les Byram, who's kindly agreed to deputise for Councillor Paul Tweed. Okay, declarations of interest. Can I ask, has anybody got any declarations of interest in relation to any item on the agenda today? No? Okay, thank you. In that case, we move on to the minutes of the previous meeting, which are on pages 5 to 8 of the agenda. And the last meeting was held on the 4th of April, and they're now submitted for approval. Can these be approved? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Next item is item 4, menopause support. And if I hand over to the Deputy Chief Fire Officer, Nick Sale, who will now take us through the report. That's on pages 9 to 22 of the agenda. Okay, thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Chair. This is to update members on the positive work undertaken by MFRA supporting employees through the menopause and to request approval for the updated menopause support policy. And the recommendation is that members note the support offered to menopausal women and other people who have a menstrual cycle, including specific guidance documents, the Menopause Lounge Support Network, and the ability for staff to reclaim hormone replacement therapy, which includes additional supportive measures developed following consultation with staff, and that's at Appendix A. As we're aware, in 2022, officers commenced a review into support available for employees during the menopause, and as such, a provision of appropriate support and organisational strategies is viewed as vital to ensure women can continue to perform to their fullest potential in the workplace. A staff consultation exercise was undertaken in 2022 involving engagement with staff networks, the Menopause Lounge, with an internal staff survey also being completed. And whilst this review was being undertaken, SLT agreed that from April the 1st, 2022, all employees will be able to reclaim the costs of their HRT prescriptions as part of an interim range of measures, including promotion of existing guidance and the Menopause Lounge that were designed to improve the range of support offered to menopausal staff. The result was the creation of a new menopause support policy, which was approved by the Community Safety Protection Committee on 6th of April 2023. And a key area proposed related to awareness. Officers utilised the guidance from the Government's Women's and Equalities Commission and developed a wider package of proposals to support menopausal women. This included simple actions such as reminding managers that staff appraisal processes include the welfare conversation, which should be supportive and encouraging, to developing learning packages aimed to help our staff to be open about seeking support and engaging in positive health measures. The key element proposed was to raise awareness of the menopause by running workshops and seminars utilising the skills of the occupational health team. And these seminars were aimed at service managers and all employees, and these have now all been completed. We are designing informative guidance and e-learning packages to communicate to a wider and more diverse audience, and there are 2 learning packages that are in the final stages of development now. Since the approval of the initial policy, a self-guided risk assessment has been developed to enable women to structure conversations with their manager, their colleagues, their family, and also their GP. Also, there is currently a trial for female-only gym times, which is 3 times a week here in headquarters. On the 27th of July 24, one of the country's most foremost menopause consultants delivered menopause champions training here in Merseyside. And then also to further strengthen our work, Liverpool will host this year's NFCC Menopause Conference, which is next week on the 11th of September in a hotel in the city centre. The menopause policy has been amended to include some significant changes, including full details of the support now offered to staff, and a copy of that updated policy is contained in Appendix A. During the Community Safety and Protection Committee, members requested that the language in the original policy was considered to ensure it remained fully inclusive. And following consultation within the Gender Network and review of national guidance, the language now used is that as recommended by ACAS. Happy to take any questions, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Anybody got any questions or comments? Yeah,
Just a comment really, just to say how appreciative I am of the amount of research and work that has gone into this piece of work. It's covered so many areas, and the time has been taken to discuss with partners and other people, ACAS involved, so I just wanted that to be noted.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, Councillor Byron.
This conference, NFCC conference, will it be available if members wanted to attend that? Would it be possible for them to attend?
I think they will, Chair. Yeah, I think
You may not want to, but it just...
it's next week. I'm actually doing the opening address on it next week.
well, everyone changed their mind.
Absolutely no one will attend that. It's NFCC, so I think there will be a charge associated with attendance, but I'm not too sure how we'll work that out.
I can go take it away and find out.
If members want to go, I don't think the price should be a barrier
Absolutely.
at all. No, we've got a training budget. There's no problem at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's innovative. It's the sort of thing that people would do in their own families, to be concerned about, a period in people's lives. I think when you go around HQ and you see some of the amenity packs that are in the loos and all this sort of thing, and the sessions that are put on, the support that's given, I think this is entirely a good thing. And if any members of staff came forward with any suggestions for how we would grow and expand that, be very welcome, very open. It's a good thing. And I think it's innovative and indicative of what we should be doing in local government.
Okay, just to be clear, if any members of the authority were interested, who would they need to contact? Would it be you, Leah?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'll find out if there's different. I'll find out the details, send it to members, and then they can say that you would like to go and all arrange something.
Okay, right, thanks very much. Anybody else? No? In that case, can we agree the recommendations which are laid out on page 9 of the agenda? It's, I won't read it out, but it's just a two-part recommendation, 2A and 2B. Can they be agreed?
Agreed.
Right, thank you very much. We'll move on to item number 5, Service Delivery Plan 24 to 25, Quarter 1 update. And again, if I invite Nick to take us through, please.
Thanks, Chair. As members are aware, this is a regular report that's brought back on a quarterly basis. The purpose of the report is to request that members scrutinise the performance of Merseyside Fire Rescue Service against the objectives and the performance targets and outcomes as set out in the Service Delivery Plan 24-25. And the recommendation is that members approve the attached Service Delivery Plan reports, and they are in appendices 1 to 9 for publication on the service website. The 24-25 planning process began in January 24, and the process considered organisational risks, legislation, financial constraints, and consultation outcomes to create an innovative and value for money initiative in order to inform the Integrated Risk Management Plan, which is now reworded as the Community Risk Management Plan, and the Service Delivery Plans. The April to June Service Delivery Plan Performance Report 24-25 is the document that reports and updates on the functional plan action points and benchmark performance indicators. And reporting is provided on a regular basis to members through the authorities committees. Performance indicators have been grouped according to incident types which we attend. So they are dwelling fires, non-domestic property fires, antisocial behaviour and other fires, road traffic collisions, special service, fire alarms, staff welfare and energy in the environment. And the key performance indicator TC05, which is special service calls attended, no longer has a target and is for quality assurance purposes only. And this decision was made due to the type of incidents that we attend, the special services, and it was agreed that the service would not want to discourage many of the calls that we receive from members of the public, nor are we able to influence performance in some areas, such as assisting partner agencies. And similarly, the same reasons as above for FC13, which is the total false alarms attended, and the domestic incidents. They no longer have a target either, for the same reason that we don't want to discourage people over false alarms and calling them fire service. We'd much rather attend, and we'll make that decision once we actually get an attendance. All performance for April to June 24 is covered in detail in the appendices to this report. I'll just highlight a couple of areas if that's okay. On page 30, which is TC02, that's the total number of fires attended in Merseyside. So crews attended 1,293 fires from April to June this year, and this is 733 fewer than it was at this point last year, which is a considerable drop. Poor weather throughout spring has been the contributory factor for this, we think, but we'll take a look at it again next year. Hopefully we'll have better weather, but obviously it brings the incidents up, so we'll see where that takes us. On page 32, I just want to highlight that it's in red. The vast majority of them will be green because of where we are at the time of the year, but we do have a red already, which is the number of injuries occurring in deliberate dwelling fires, and we've actioned a piece of work to be carried out by our prevention teams just to take a look at that and see if there's anything that can be done from a prevention point of view and what the reason is behind that. On page 37, I'd just like to highlight that in May this year, so TR08 attendance, standard fire attendance and compliance at all life risk incidents in 10 minutes. For the first time ever, we had 100% attendance in May this year. That's the first time we've actually achieved that, which I'm really pleased about. The target's only 90%, which we do always attain, but to have 100% is absolutely fantastic. And then lastly, just to say that the rest of the appendices are the services, the department's functional plans, and they are all contained there. The vast majority of the actions in there at present are green, but that's due to the time of year where we are at the moment. But obviously, we'll keep a close eye on where they go and report back in due time to the authority as appropriate.
Okay, thanks Nick, thanks very much. Anybody got any questions or comments on the report? Yeah, Councillor Byron.
Other members have got any comments? I always say about these reports, statistical reports, the public might say, a coroner might say, the inspector might say, who's in charge here? Well, we know it's the officers who are professionals, full-time professionals, who run the service, but we have a legal responsibility to control, and these are the ways that we maintain control. These are the keys of control. We need to know what targets were being set, what targets are being achieved, and what targets are being underachieved, because that's the role of the authority. We're only part-time, but what we fall into that category of interested amateurs. And we are very interested. We're interested with a passion, of course, in the fire service, but you need to have, not exactly absorbed this, but you need to have seen these statistics and be in control of these statistics, because that's part of, that's the actual fundamental part of what it is that we do as an authority. Now, these statistics are only coming to a subset of the authority, and that is this committee. They're not coming to the main authority, but anything that you'd want to have escalated could be escalated from here to the authority or to the scrutiny committee if you wanted to have them looked at individually. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah,
Just to go back on that, we obviously utilise these extensively and we've got meetings every month, and we review all of these facts and figures as well as other ones lower down that sit under here, just to make sure that we are on top of everything and we're delivering the evidence that we should do. So as the Chair says, they're really important to us internally as well. This is how we deliver what we deliver, and we identify areas that we need to improve on or areas that we're stretched at. So we do use them extensively, and Deb Appleton's department scrutinise them constantly, I assure you.
Thanks, Chair.
okay, thanks. Councillor Allen.
Thanks, Chair. Yeah, and I just want to say thanks for making them so easy to digest. Just the colour scheme, to say how you're getting on, so helpful. I do my best to read as much of this as possible, but it's a lot to get through. And just look, like, I think you hinted at it as you summed up there, but just, for example, in the prevention, page 63, the functional plan. There's a lot of orange early on, so could you just, in case someone's come across this in the public and read it and they might be a bit concerned that we're not quite where we should be, could you just quickly explain to us why that might be? And I think it might be because just that a certain stage through the year, but
No problem. So just on the key there, so the action may not be, if it's orange and says means the action may not be delivered by the designated timeline within the functional plan.
okay.
And a lot of the actions there, if it's prevention, could be due to work that's going on externally, or if we're working with other partners, other services, or we're waiting for work to be done by the National Fire Chiefs Council. So a lot of the stuff is on different types of fuel that we're looking at, etc. So a lot of the areas we are slightly dependent on the Fire Chiefs Council, but we don't shy from that. We'll put them in the report and we'll update and see how we progress over the coming time. But as I say, it's very, very early in the report at the moment. These figures are the first quarter, so we've got another 9 months or so.
Yeah, that's it.
We'll deliver them at some point, as
Fantastic.
soon as we can.
Appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks very much.
Lovely.
Anybody else?
Can I just ask a question on
Yeah.
page 38? About
38.
the sickness. It seems to have gone up again. Has there been many injuries?
Can I just bring in Mr. Pilkington? Is that okay? Give him one of his sickness and I'll be there.
So, a number of members here, we did a scrutiny piece of work for scrutiny over the last couple of months, and we had to task and finish. Group and sickness had, since the end of the pandemic, had kind of increased a little bit, and we were putting in a number of measures. We have had a number of people who have been waiting for medical discharges, and whilst they're on long-term sick, awaiting the medical discharge process, that has extended. They're becoming increasingly difficult, increasingly delayed, which every one of us will understand and be aware of from stress anyway. So we're just trying to put in as many measures as we can to bring that down. It's actually on a downward trajectory. Sickness, it's getting really close to the target. We are aware that our green book sickness is below. It's our operational sickness. It's not specifically injuries. It's just general sickness things. So the measures that we discussed in the scrutiny are all getting put in place. We have a really extensive occupational health program, really good fitness support. So it's just ensuring all those measures are provided to our staff.
As I said, there was a separate scrutiny at the scrutiny committee on this.
We brought it back to the full authority, and there was a recommendation as well to us to liaise with the LGA, which has been actioned as well.
Okay, right, thanks very much. Everybody okay? In that case, can we agree the recommendation set out on page 23 of the agenda, please? Agreed?
Great, yeah.
Thank you. So moving on to item 6, which is the financial review for 24-25, April to June. And I'll invite the Director of Finance and Procurement, Mike Rea, to take us through the report. Thanks, Mike.
This report covers the revenue and capital budgets, reserves and treasury management updates up to the 30th of June 2024. The revenue position is covered in paragraphs 6 to 16 on pages 139 to 141, and paragraph 7 outlines the budget movements in the first quarter. Movements related to small use of reserves for home fire safety, the drawdown from inflation provision to cover the increase in subscription fees, and adjustments to reflect the availability of external funds to deliver specific projects, along with other internal budget requirements. All of these adjustments are self-balancing, and they do not impact on the approved net budget requirements, and that remains at 74.191 million. Paragraph 9 to 15 review the robustness of the key revenue budget assumptions and the forecast spend for the financial year. The 24-25 pay award assumption was 3% for all staff. The firefighter pay award is now being settled at 4%, and this will require an increase in the current year of £340,000 and an increase of £450,000 in 25-26 onwards. The local government staff pay award is yet to be settled. The employer offer to date is £1,290 for 2.5%, whichever is greater, and this would exceed the current budget by approximately £40,000 per annum. There are no other significant growth pressures beyond those built into the medium-term financial plan. The table on page 141 summarises the anticipated year-end revenue position, and the overall actual forecast is consistent with the approved budget. The capital movements in the quarter are outlined in paragraphs 17 to 20 on pages 141 to 142, and paragraph 17 outlines the changes in the capital programme of quarter 1. The rephrasing of the capital schemes at the end of 23-24 resulted in a net increase in the current planned year of 8.6 million. The capital programme has been increased by 2.5 million for planned asset refresh on behalf of Home Office for national resilience purposes. This includes 1.4 million on enhanced logistics support, enhanced logistics support programme, and 1.1 million on the marauding terrorist attack activity programme. The table on page 142 summarises the capital programme movements in Q1. The reserve movements in the quarter are outlined in paragraphs 21 to 23 on page 143, and there's been very little movement in reserves within the quarter, only a small drawdown from the Community Risk Management Reserve of £12,000. The general reserve remained unchanged at £3.7 million. The Treasury Management performance is outlined in paragraphs 24 to 29 on pages 143 to 146. The performance of Treasury Management was consistent with the approved Treasury Management strategy for 24-25, and at the end of June, the authority held £27.3 million of investments. A breakdown of these is contained in the table on page 145, and all investments are consistent with the approved investment strategy and within approved strategy limits. No new loans have been taken out, and borrowing has remained at 33.7 million. It is recommended that members note the contents of the report, approve the proposed revenue and capital budget adjustments, and approve the use of the inflation reserve to cover pay awards above the 3% medium-term financial plan assumption, and instruct the Director of Finance and Procurement to continue to work with managers to maximise savings in 24-25 and use any of these savings to reduce the level of capital borrowing. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Any questions or comments on the report? Yeah, Councillor Grace.
So thank you for the report, Mike, and it's a very obvious question to me, but the reserves for pay awards and that, the reserves are robust.
Yes.
Can take.
Yeah, so in terms of what we've done at year end, we put a considerable amount into the inflation reserve to cover the inflation in case pay awards did come on above the 3% or in case any other non-pay lines needed additional funds. The intention throughout the year will see whether to seek members' approval to use the inflation reserve if required. If we can contain that growth within the existing budgets, we will for this year, and then we will come back to members as part of the budget setting process with that additional £500,000 in next year's budget.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, Councillor Byron.
Thank you, sorry. So we normally, as we move into the second half of the year, we come towards December, we start thinking about the build-up of next year's budget. Will we be having a sort of a budget day, a day to sort of look at the budget?
The budget day is still timetabled in for January.
January, right, okay, that's good. Now, we're also, I mean, one of the things that's happened in the past years is that firefighter pay rise and the remainder of the staff pay rise has been a little bit out of kilter. And we have lobbied at the LGA to, it's fairer that everybody gets more or less the same level of pay rise. But it's gearing up towards, we don't know, we've no idea what it'll be, because it's for the NJC. We don't set our own negotiation. It's for both sets of, or three sets of staff. It's the NJC. But it looks like it's above the, or close to the current level of inflation, 5%. We would not be able to afford that. We'd have to make significant cuts, but we would lobby, presumably, we would be lobbying through the LGA and the other bodies for cover, financial cover for any eventuality that would result in a pay settlement that is above our affordability.
Yeah, so in terms of, as I said, the budget in the uniforms was 4%, the green group is coming in just above 5%, so there's an additional 2% we're going to have to find. The intention is to lobby ministers in the following couple of months around the whole overall budget setting process, and if those pay awards come in at that rate or greater, that will be part of the lobbying.
At the LGA, there was a network which included the treasurers, the finance officers from around the country. Is that collective work still going
Yeah,
on?
still there, and they are meeting in October to discuss the issue.
That's good. Well, thank you.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, can I just ask a question, please? It's on page 145, and it's to do with the investments. Happy to see Wirral Borough Council named there as one of the places where we invest. But could you just explain what criteria a council has to make before that would have been considered?
Yeah, all of these investments are all part of the total investment strategy, and as part of the investment, the treasury management strategy, that they will look to secure that they hit the criteria in terms of the robustness of the investment, and from a local authority point of view, they're almost 100% certain that the local authority, although they may issue section 114 notices, they won't go bust, and the central government will always back up their investments.
They're not that good, sure.
Famous last words.
yeah,
We'll see.
okay, glad you asked now.
Can I just ask why?
Yeah.
I mean, as you said, for the Wirral Borough, why isn't any of the councils in the Merseyside on
It's literally just at a point in time when someone's actually going out to loan money and when someone's actually looking to borrow money.
it?
Okay,
We were being left out.
no, is it?
Not every, these are local government, local authority bonds on it.
Yeah, so these are from an investment strategy point of view, our investment strategy is done by Liverpool City Council, so they will literally look to see where the best return is at the most secure. So, and local authorities are viewed as one of the most secure investments, and it is literally at a point in time when our cash flow allows for us to invest, what the investment duration is, and when we'll actually need the funds back to actually pay staff or pensions.
Okay, right, anybody else? No? In that case, can we agree the four-part recommendation on page 137 of the agenda? That agreed?
Great.
Thank you very much. Right, move on to item 7, and this item is exempt, so I'm asking any members of the public to leave, and one leaving as we speak.
I'm quick enough. No.